I got a meeting today with this woman who is upset because she signed a contract to build a house for 850,000 and the bank is going to fund, 600,000 because she paid 200,000 for the lot. And there's not enough money to finish the house. And she wants to blame somebody. Somebody's going to pay for this. And the answer is it's going to be her or she ain't going to get a house because the builder's got no resources to go after. And a lawsuit's going to cost a lot of money. And anybody want to take my role today and have that conversation? Because I do that about 5 times a week right now. It sucks. Just to say it. Mom says Mercury's in retrograde. That will do it all. That's it. All right. I'm going to go ahead and start our meeting now with the crowds have built. And we've got a good agenda. So I don't know. I woke up at 5:30 this morning, full of energy. I had a 93% sleep score. And that's pretty damn good. So I call this all hands on deck. You know what, guys? We have to pull together now because things are freaking weird. I mean, it's fantastic, but it's weird. So let's just go ahead and rather than me read these quotes, Joe, why don't you read number 1?
We don't grow when things are easy. We grow when we face challenges.
Are we facing any challenges right now?
Your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change.
I like it. So let's go back. Let's go back to number 1.
Okay.
We don't grow when things are easy. We grow when we face challenges. Are we facing any challenges now?
Yes, of course.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it is. I so want you guys to understand that the challenges you're facing now are real. And you need to stand up for yourselves. I'm sick and tired of looking at MLS seeing 1.5% and 2% commissions. That's ridiculous. Look them square in the eye and say, absolutely not. The buyer's agents are working harder than they ever have. The listing agents are working harder than they ever have. We deserve as much or more than we did in the past. So quit wimping out, right? We don't grow when things are easy. We grow when we face challenges, and we're facing challenges now. And we're going to dump into that a lot today. All right, number 3, Kat, you do number 3.
You're muted, Kat.
You're muted, Kat.
Okay, for once you didn't have to hear me. Yay. Number 3, you lose 1 out of 5 for being too aggressive, but you get the other 4 by being aggressive. Oh, that's so perfect for me.
What does that mean?
Parent party. Which means you've got to get out there and jump in there and make it happen, because 4 times out of the 5, you're going to get it. It's going to happen for you, but you got to get out there and make it happen. You got to get in their face and make it happen.
There you go. Deb, do number 4.
Hold on, hey, real quick. I heard Grant Cardone speaking the other day, and he's telling people, he goes, I've been selling some of the hardest salespeople for the last 21 years, 30 years, the hardest people to sell. Not once have I ever had a lawsuit filed against me for calling somebody too many times. Not once. So get out there and pick up the phone.
Yeah. Okay, no matter how good or bad your life is, get up each morning and be thankful you have one. This is apropos for me because I'm turning 70 Friday.
No way.
Yep. And look, this is 70. I'm sorry, but yeah, I can't even believe I've made it this far in life. And still in pretty decent shape. So anyway, always be grateful, always be thankful for what you have, not what you want to have, because your happiness comes from what's around you and your relationships, not from things.
There you go. That's awesome. Chris, why don't you number 5?
You have to get up every morning with determination if you're going to go to bed with satisfaction.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
How you start your day will determine how your day goes, and how you finish your day will put a cap on top of that. So win your morning.
Yep.
It doesn't matter when it is. It could be at 5 in the morning or 9 in the morning. Whenever you get out of bed, win your morning.
Okay. Love it. All right. So I'm going to say this again and again and again. And I've mentioned this a lot. I'm talking to a lot of people these days, and we are blessed. The car industry. Puma told me yesterday he's trying to buy a new car because he wrecked his car. He didn't wreck his car. His car got wrecked. But the dealership said, we're not going to sell you a new car unless you got one to trade in.
Literally wouldn't even give me pricing. Would not give me a price. I asked for the breakdown of their price pricing, would not refuse to give it to me unless I had a car to trade in.
You
Well,
didn't
you
tell
would
me,
not
take
sell me
your
the car.
wrecked car.
yeah, you didn't tell him you could have mine?
Wow, that's something.
Really, watch
I
the
told
language
him,
on
I said,
that
I'm in
one,
real
which
estate. I
is
can't
a
imagine if we told a client that, I'm sorry, we're not going to sell you this house unless you've got another one for us to sell. Like, I can't imagine that. That would be a lawsuit, but yep, they get away with it apparently.
Yeah. So guys, really the whole industry, lumber, I could show you a picture in my email or my chats or my text. Somebody sent me a screenshot, a photograph of a Home Depot shelf ticket with a 3/4 inch 4x8 sheet of plywood for $102 for one sheet of plywood. So the new car problem is the chips that run the cars, they don't have enough. So they can't produce new cars. Jeff went to the Cadillac store and the Cadillac store said, oh, you want a new Escalade? 20,000 over sticker.
30,000.
30,000 now?
Yes, they call it a market a market budget or something that nature. 30,000.
30,000 over sticker. Puma, buy used. Right.
Market adjustment. Market adjustment. That's what they call it.
I'm
If you
buying
can
a
buy
bicycle
used.
and bicycling everywhere now.
There you go.
That's my option.
Well, maybe that's the lunch I have today, not lunch, my noon meeting today. Maybe I'll talk to that one about, it's a market adjustment. I know you signed a contract for $850, but it's going to cost you $950 now for a market adjustment. There you go. All right, let's go. Active listings. Hey, we're up to 123. We got down to 110 last week. We're up to 123. And I wrote, what? Do you sense it's changing? I'm sensing it. I'm seeing it.
I'm
And-
thinking it's a holiday.
You broke up. What'd you say?
No, I sense there's a change, and the change is greed. I've gone on 2 expensive property listing previews with agents this week, and both of these sellers are batshit crazy. And I don't want to tell them no. I mean, we're talking super aggressive pricing. Like, I think 3 million sounds about right. I said maybe 2.4. He goes, no, I wouldn't even consider 2.4. But it's a 1.5 acre estate, 8,000 square feet on the river, and it doesn't exist anywhere else on the planet. So we're going to take it at $3 million or $3.5 million at $400 a foot, because there's condos in South Tampa at $1,100 a foot for a condo. And who the hell knows? Some freak from California is going to see value there, and we're not going to know. So what do you do? So our active listings are up. That's crazy. Why? Our first up movement in months. We've been going, we started at 220, we went to 210, went to 190, 180, 170, 160, 150, 140, 130, 110. This is the first time we've actually gone up. So just be cognizant. And that's because, in my opinion, that we as agents are taking listings at higher prices, which is good. You should not sell a house in a day, right? The market has to adjust. And when you see through John Smith eyes, then you see what John Smith buys, and that will resonate with you. New listings, we've taken 33 in the first week of this year. Guys, that is stellar. You are crushing it. We are beating our record for listings taken last year, this year, and the tightest listing market ever. But only 19 are still for sale. So usually it would be like 24 are sold already. So now it's a little slowing down, which is good. It's taking time. Sales, we have 24. Look at this. We have fewer sales than we do listings taken. This is like monumental. We haven't seen stats like this. And, you know, I've been tracking this for, look, we do this every week. Closings, we have a 23. Look at the pendings to close. PTC is pendings to close. We have 269 contracts that are pending to close by the end of this month for 3.3 million. Do you remember that I would tell you that $1.4 million is a decent month and 2 million we almost never hit? We have 3.3 million pending to close this month. That's a potential of 292 closings for $3.6 million. And there's another 45 pendings past closing that haven't been turned in or that need to be extended or canceled. Crazy. Crazy. Are you seeing and feeling the changes? Greed has entered the market. This is my new statement. I'm talking about it a lot. Greed has entered the market. We need to be strong enough to bend and defend our fees. That's my mission for you guys right now, is bend and defend our fees. Boom, boom. All right, let's hear from Tiffany. Top that one, girl.
I don't think I can. By the way, I'm in the car driving, so sorry if you guys see any or hear anything. So going to a training. So, so we have our training. Speaking of trainings, we have ours this Thursday. So with Jim Holloway, and he's going to go over deeds and the types of ways people are vested in their deed and what kind of issues you might come across if you have, a divorce or any of that situation going on with title. So make sure you guys sign up for that. And other than that, I'm enjoying getting out and seeing all the different offices. I made it out to South Tampa, and that was great. Thanks for the tour, Joe. I appreciated it.
You're welcome.
So, and I'll get to see some more of the offices this week. So if you see me, come say hi, ask me your title questions. I'll be out there.
Cool. Thank you. And I got a slide up coming up for your new class on, it's this Thursday. And you don't have to sign up, it'll just be our normal 8:30 class. So log into Zoom and we'll be there for you.
Yay.
Thank you, Tiffany.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Okay. I just put these two things up. Disclosure, when in doubt, disclose. So two things I'm aware of now. Apollo Beach Golf Course is closed, but I saw them sprinkling the other day. So if you're selling a golf course house, talk about the challenges with the golf course. Kings Point is having a lawsuit. The residents are suing the board, so that needs to be disclosed too. So have your sellers make those disclosures. Anything else you know about, we need to do. Florida 21 is coming up soon. I hope you RSVP'd. If you did, we paid for you. If not, it's on your own right now. But if it's still not too late to go, Move Easy. Angelica, I have a call today at 10 to set up the platform for that. And then we're going to have more trainings coming soon on Move Easy, which is the Century 21 Beggins concierge service, which will do everything from soup to nuts for our customers to help us move the transaction from transactional to experiential, which is what we want to do. And if you missed that class, it was last Thursday. So go to begginsagents.com and find the class from last Thursday. And then today, what we're going to do is we're going to hear from our managers. And I've got a thought, but I need to look at my email for a second. Sales meeting topics. Okay, so across the board, we're seeing massive rejection of buyer lead opportunities. All right, so I stay in touch with Zillow, OpCity, Ojo. I have meetings with these people almost every week, and there's some systemic problems and that I'm seeing. And one of those problems is that you're getting buyer leads and you're not taking them. And I understand it and I get it, but it's a bad idea. If you ignore the buyers in their dreaming phase, they're going to ignore you in their buying phase. I'm going to open up the topic and ask each of the managers for a piece of advice for our agents. We have 9 presenters. We have 9 topics. Facts are low down payment buyers are losing, period. Cash is necessary to pay over appraisals. Agents are getting burned out and getting paid less. Referral lead sources add insult to injury. So those are my talking points for what we're dealing with out there. And I get it. All right. But here's where we have to get super strong. How do I say it the right way? All buyers are not created equal, right?
Mm-hmm.
All buyers deserve the opportunity to dream, but they don't deserve your time to be put in your car to be driving around if they can't afford to buy in today's market, right? So you have to become very well versed and skilled at giving bad news. I'm going to make an example out of Joe. Joe, I'm sorry, you're not in a competitive position to buy right now. We need to keep you in the sidelines waiting until the market calms down a little bit so I can get you in. Or you need to buddy up with Aunt Alice or Uncle Fred and see if they can lend you some money, or go to mom and dad. I mean, these are real life scenarios. That's how people are winning. Chris, you're there. Let's talk about you and I, that deal that we just won on yesterday, and what that poor buyer went through. We had the crazy seller.
Yeah.
Poor buyer. Talk
Yeah.
about the asking price, the bid up price, the low appraisal price.
Sure. So we listed a property. Well, first start with about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we listed a property for 410. So 2 years ago, the seller was willing to accept 410 and it didn't sell within 4 or 6 months on market. The seller then put it back on the market themselves earlier this year and it didn't sell. And that was at like 450 or 460. She told us if we listed it, we would have to list it at 475. And we did. And we had multiple showings lined up and an offer at 490 right out of the gates. The buyer said, I'm tired of losing. I've lost 8 or 9 other offers. I'm going to put in an offer of 490. Please take my offer. We absolutely love it. We love it so much. We're going to check the cash box on the contract, even though we're getting a loan, because we're that confident in our financing. And that's how desperate the buyer was to make sure they got this next home. They came that strong out of the gates on a property that 2 years ago didn't sell at 410, listed at 475, didn't sell for sale by owner at 450 or 460 for like 30 days. And now they offered 490 and went under contract. So
That's insane.
Yeah.
And then what did it appraise for?
it appraised just over 400 the first time. I think it was 407 or 408 the first time. And we ordered a second appraisal because the lender agreed it was so far off and different from what the price was and what they expected. They ordered a second from the same lender, and that one came in at 395.
So here's a poor buyer offering 490 on a house that appraised under 400. And then long story short, the seller, we needed 1 day because they checked box A, the CFPB deadline for the 3-day disclosure rights didn't kick in. And they needed 1 extra day for the disclosure, and the seller wanted them to pay $30,000 for the extra day. And I got sassy with the seller. Long story short, we held our ground and we won, but that's it. I just got a note, Mike, that Amanda's here from D.R. Horton. You're actually on my agenda, but I'm going to let you in now, Amanda. So we'll delay this part of our show. You're going to want to watch it anyway, but this is really relevant because you guys are doing some pretty cool things as D.R. Horton. So if we can bring Amanda in.
Well,
Amanda, you are a guest. We have to make you a co-host. It's coming. Yep, there she is. All right. So listen, I got to tell you, we love D.R. Horton.
I'm
And
so glad. We love you guys.
karma's a bitch, and we're going to remember these other home builders that are not treating us as well as you guys are. Right?
right.
Yes.
And you
Yes.
can't say that, but I can. So go ahead and give us your update. You guys are selling like crazy.
We
Tell
are
us-
selling like crazy. I mean, you guys were talking about how amazing of a time it is, but that always brings challenges. And you mentioned a client that you have that's having challenges completing a custom home that they're building. We're definitely still seeing the challenges of finishing homes in the amount of time that we're used to. We're still seeing a lot of labor and materials shortages. So having folks like you on our side with our buyers, understanding the market and helping to kind of counsel your buyers ahead of time about the fact that it's going to take longer to build a home than it did before is hugely important. And we're setting those expectations right from the start. Right now we're telling our buyers, we're not even going to give you a time frame right now. And once we get, I know that sounds awful, but we don't want to set expectations we can't meet, right? So we can give them kind of an idea of here's how long it's been taking us. I will tell you, a home that used to take us about 4 or 5 months to build right now is taking us about 7 months to build.
If you can get appliances and windows and drywall,
yes,
wood.
yes,
and shingles.
yes. So that 7 months is taking that into account. We were told recently by our several window suppliers that we're almost a half a year behind in getting windows supplied to us. So that was really crazy news and, not at all what we wanted to hear. So we're working really hard. All of the sales managers, we've kind of sat down and spec'd out our entire communities, meaning we figured out exactly what floor plans we want to permit on what home sites. That way we can get to the window suppliers now and say, okay, we know we're going to have X number of Hayden floor plans, X number of Cali floor plans, really trying to strategically think about this ahead of time so they can be on top of what we need. And hopefully we don't see that kind of delay. So we're working through it. We're making it work.
It's absolutely incredible. Brian just put in the chat that he just ordered windows for his home and they said 4 months out.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds
Right.
about
So
right.
There's going to be backwards, but this is the letter E. E stands for empathy. All right.
Yes,
We have
absolutely.
to be empathetic at this point, and customers have to be too. That we are it's unheard of what we're dealing with. I'm talking with Willie Nunn from Homes by West Bay, Ali Hasbini from Sunrise Homes, some really successful local home builders, and they are just beside themselves. They're afraid to sell a house right now because the customer's expectation is, if I sign a contract, I want to know the price. And we can't tell them for real price. DR Horton's different because they buy in bulk.
Yep.
So they've got inventory to build for the next 6 months, but the next 6 months after that, they can't promise anything. It's a different world. And it's just like the car dealer saying, I can't sell you a new car unless you got a trade in because I need inventory on my lot. It's not much different than that. It really is crazy. But anyway, so you guys are turning and burning. I know in Apollo Beach, you've got, what's it called? Mangrove
Manor and Mangrove Place. Yep. We'll have single family homes on the west side of the road and townhomes on the east side of the road. East side and west side of 41. We don't have pricing yet. Of course, that's not something that we want to throw out there until we get a little closer to building. But we've got a lot of new stuff coming. We've got that happening in Apollo Beach. We've got townhomes coming on 301 in Riverview, just north of Rodine Road. So we'll have about 150 townhomes there. Again, we don't have pricing there yet, but we'll probably start selling in about September. It's a great location. You're 10 minutes to I-75 straight into downtown Tampa or anywhere else, folks might need to commute to for work if they're working in the workplace versus at home. And then for 3-car garages, gosh, I hear people all the time asking for 3-car garages. We've got a new community coming called Cedarbrook in Riverview. It's on Rodine Road. Oh, if I had to pull out my mental Google Maps, I'd say about 3 miles east of 301. We're going to be in there with another couple of home builders, but we have 120 some odd home sites in there, and all of them, or half of them, are going to be large enough home sites for 3-car garage plans. So it's going to be a little bit of our higher end product line. And we also found out a couple weeks ago, it's going to be zoned for all of the Fishhawk schools. So great location, great school zone. We should probably start selling in there end of August, early September will be, yes, probably at least.
400s, that meant.
Yes. And our model will be finished. We'll have a couple models in there about the end of September. And then Sereno in Waimama, right across the street from South Shore Bay, we're going to get ready to kick off our new phase in there towards the end of August. So we've got a lot of stuff coming to the Southeast Hillsborough area and all across, the Tampa Bay area. I mean, as you guys know, we're building everywhere. We've got more coming in Wesley Chapel. Our most recent new sales kickoff there is Avalon Park. That's been a pretty big existing neighborhood. And we bought about 900 home sites on the north end of the community. So we'll be building out the rest of that community there. We're bringing townhomes into Epperson, the Big Lagoon community in Wesley Chapel. We're actually going to be bringing townhomes to South Shore Bay as well towards the end of this year. But we are continuing to buy land. We're continuing to start homes. We're not letting these challenges, cause us to slow down on building. We're okay if sales are a little slower than they usually are. They're not, amazingly, but we'd be okay if they were, just so we could catch up from a construction standpoint. But we have not slowed down on starting homes. Some of the communities I manage, South Shore Bay, we're starting 18 homes a month right now. Creek Preserve, which is our price leader in that Waimama corridor. We're starting 24 homes a month in there. Shell Cove, which is in Ruskin, we're starting over 20 homes a month in there. So we're just going to be continuing to start homes. So we've got stuff in the ground for all of your buyers.
And Palmer Ranch in Sarasota, you still have some beautiful home sites available there. We just love you.
Yes. Oh, good. I'm so glad. Yeah. Promenade Estates. I think we just kicked off a new phase in there.
Good.
And we've got in Lakewood Ranch too, we're winding down on Palisades, which is our Freedom product line, the 1-story kind of carefree, but we've got Solera, which is a huge community in Lakewood Ranch with several different single family product lines. And then we'll be launching townhomes, probably July, August. We'll have townhomes in Lakewood Ranch.
And you're building in Bradenton, I think too. Is Evergreen one of your projects?
Yep, Evergreen is ours. So we've got our DR Horton product line in there and also our Express product line in there. So a couple different price points in Bradenton. And we just, like I said, we're continuing to buy land. We want to forever, be the number one builder in the market, in every market that we're in. So we're going to make sure that we're continually providing opportunity for home buyers to be a part of the DR Horton family. And along with that, we will continue to treat you guys the way you deserve to be treated and to compensate you the way you deserve to be compensated. I mean, you guys are our wonderful partners and we just love doing business with you. And we know that we couldn't be as successful as we are without you guys.
Hey, Pamela asked, Amanda, will any of your townhomes be 4 bedrooms?
We don't have any 4-bedroom townhomes right now. They're all 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 1-car garage is the product that tends to sell the best right now. So those are the ones that are in plan for now.
I had to give your name to one of my agents yesterday. That they were upset because their customer's house is going too slow.
Yes.
And they wanted to.
You and I are working together on that.
And I'm sorry to do it to you, but I just want everybody to know. I mean, Lauren just wrote in, I was told there's also a drywall shortage. I have a new build, DR Horton in South Shore Bay that got delayed 2 months. This is the norm. I mean, you can't be shocked. It's empathy for the builders. It's empathy for the drywall suppliers. It's empathy for the lumber suppliers. I mean, it is crazy what we're seeing. The pandemic created a devastating supply shortage. And for some uncanny reason, demand did not stop. So when you stop supply and you increase demand, you create a backlog. And we are working through. I talked to somebody at GE. They're 2 million units behind in dishwashers, which we need a dishwasher for a CO. So what do? You got to wait to produce dishwashers. And then the chip company that came from China, which shut down because of the pandemic and the mask and the things, they shut down their factories, so they're not making the semiconductors that are necessary for the dishwasher to do its job. And it's just the way it is. It's crazy.
Paint is our latest one. I don't know if you guys have
heard.
Oh,
I haven't heard the paint one yet.
Paint, yes. Sherwin-Williams is having a hard time keeping up with the demand for paint, and they're our national supplier of paint. And in addition to the demand being high, their major manufacturing plant is in Texas. And, a few months ago, Texas had that big freeze and it ruined a whole lot of their materials, all of the
grid shutdown.
All the stuff that goes into making paint. I don't know what all that stuff is, but a bunch of it was totally ruined in that freeze. So that on top of all of this demand, now they're having an issue with paint.
Yeah, because everybody's stuck at home painting their walls because they don't cooped up in their house. Oh,
I know it's a crazy time, but we will all get through it. And Lauren mentioned expectations. Unfortunately, some homes that we sold in October, November, December of last year, things weren't quite yet as crazy as they are right now. We were having some delays, but we've really seen them into this year. So we didn't set the expectations then as the way we do now. I mean, now we're really not setting an expectation other than it's going to take longer than it normally does. We're going to update you every week. We're going to keep you informed. And once we get past drywall, we can have a relatively good idea as to when we might be able to close.
So Amanda, how are you dealing with buyers that need to sell their homes? It's hard to put something on the market. Something on the market that, we can't, they need to stay in until they move into your place. which is 8 months, 9 months down the road.
Amanda froze on us.
Yeah, she did.
There she is.
Yeah.
So what are you doing with home
I
buyer?
got lost for a minute. Oh gosh, that's a really, really tough conversation. I mean, really, we're telling folks right now, you got to keep a roof over your head, because, you know, especially in the beginning stages, we can't make any promises. And of course, as soon as they put their home on the market, it's likely to sell. So we give them an estimated closing date 30 days out. So the advice really is keep a roof over your head until we feel fairly confident.
Can they go under contract with you all? She
Amanda's
froze
frozen again.
Those tough questions. I'm gonna freeze too.
Yeah.
There you are.
Hello.
I'm so sorry. I don't know if that's my connection or what's going on, but
We figured that's your, I don't know the answer to that question. So I'm just gonna
yeah. See ya. I don't know. Yeah, no, the message is keep a roof over your head. And as soon as we can give some information, we'll give some information. And then we just talk to them about the importance of setting expectations with their potential buyers, you know, that the buyers of their home, they're going to have to be somewhat flexible. You know, I mean, that's really the conversation for all of us, whether you're selling a home or buying a home, we got to be flexible. We got to, you know, be kind to each other, and we'll figure it out.
So you all can get under contract with a buyer.
Say that again.
Will
Can
you
all-
go to contract with a home sale contingency?
We won't do a home to sell contingency. We will do a home to close. And I know that that's kind of like, okay, what comes first,
Contract,
you know,
okay.
the chicken or the egg? So if the buyer doesn't qualify for both homes, but we're selling them a home on our end in the very beginning stages, and you know their home seems marketable and they're willing to take the risk without a contingency, we would go to contract, and you know we would all just, you know, hope for the best, and you know hopefully they'll sell their home before our home closes. But from a contingency standpoint, we're really only taking a look at home to close contingencies. So we have a lot of conversation about interim housing, which I know is also hard to find. But we've got a lot of folks that are living with family, living with friends, living in executive housing because they did sell their home. They wanted that contingency, you know, to be under contract with us.
I have a question. We have a company that has a program that will qualify them for both homes, basically, with like a semi-bridge loan. It's something that D.R. Horton's lender probably doesn't offer. Is that something that you guys would allow an outside lender and still potentially offer some of the benefits of closing costs if they're able to qualify for your home without selling theirs because of this specific lender?
Yep. So we do, if a buyer wants to take advantage of a program that DHI Mortgage just doesn't offer, we will still offer $5,000 towards their closing costs. Our typical incentive is up to $10,000. But you know, if there's just something we can't offer, we would still offer $5,000 towards closing costs. So there's still opportunity for an incentive to utilize a program that we don't have. Absolutely.
Nice.
And then I saw someone asked if we're still locking in prices at the time of contract. I know there are some builders out there that are having folks go to contract and the pricing is not set in stone. Yes, pricing is set in stone at the time you go to contract with us. So there's a couple of things happening. If the house has started construction, we've put up the form boards. The price is what it is. It's the advertised price. If you come in and you want to purchase a home that we have not started construction yet, you want to be able to pick your home site, pick your floor plan, you know, it's kind of further down the line on our start schedule where pricing probably looks different to us at the point in time that we would have started it. We have what we're calling a to be built premium, and that could be anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000 that's added on to the price just because you're purchasing something before it's been permitted, before it started construction. And that just kind of builds in that additional money for us because we know our costs are going to be higher to build that house. But either way, the price is locked in at the time of contract.
Wow. I want you guys to pause for a moment and just think back to a year from now, a year ago, and imagine having this conversation. Right? Never. I'm going on 30 years in this industry. Never have we experienced anything like this. Absolutely crazy. And D.R. Horton, Amanda, we love you guys. I mean, really.
We love you guys. We
We
really
appreciate your
do.
support and we appreciate your information because the next part of this meeting is our managers are going to explain ways to talk to buyers because we have to have these conversations. And actually,
Wonderful.
you put these thoughts in our mind a couple weeks ago when you were on and said, you know, we're having the tough conversations with the buyers up front.
Yep.
And that's what we have to do because we are burning ourselves out as agents.
Oh, absolutely.
Our-
Absolutely.
Our lead sources are going through the roof. We're getting more leads than we've ever gotten before. Everybody wants to buy something, but most of them can't right now.
Mhm.
So I really appreciate your words. Right now, you need a roof over your head.
Yes.
All right. And it's going to be an apartment. It's going to be a rental house. It's going to be something. But if
Yep.
you're a lonely FHA, VA buyer, when the appraisal comes in at 375 and your purchase price is 490, you need a lot of cash,
Yep.
right? Susan wrote, should we have our sellers get an appraisal before closing? No, it doesn't matter because an appraisal is an opinion value and different appraisers are going to have different opinions, number one. And the value changes so fast because cash purchases are changing the value so fast. And we're selling on demand, not on value.
hmm
And I think you gave me those words too, Amanda. D.R.
Yep.
Horton is selling based on demand, not on value.
Yep. Yeah,
So
we
if
price
Al-
to the market, not to the appraisal.
We price to market and market says, I'm from California. I just sold my house for $1.2 million. I can afford whatever the hell I want. I'll pay $550 for this house.
Yeah.
Even though you're only valuing it at $440, I'll pay $550 because it's worth it to me.
Yeah.
And that's just a whole different world that we're just not used to. Cool. Well, thank you very much,
Really
Amanda.
quickly, before I go, I wanted to give you guys some kudos. It's so wonderful to be on this. Katie and I go back and forth every other month, but the fact that you all are sitting and having these conversations and training your agents about how to have these tough conversations, you know, making sure your agents are well versed on what's going on in the market really makes you guys stand out. You know, we can tell when we've got a buyer that's working with a Bagans agent because we're truly a partner with you guys, and that's huge. It's really, really, really helpful. And it makes the best experience for the buyer, you know, really to know that they've got a builder that understands what the heck's going on. And then they've got a real estate agent representing them that understands what the heck's going on. You know, it's huge. So thank you.
Well, we've got 110 people online right now. How many brokerages do you talk to that have 110 people in attendance in a meeting?
Not many. Not many.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, so let's go back to where we were, which was I'm gonna just look at my email for a second. Manager roundtable topic. So, Thomas, I gave you a topic last night to talk about. Why don't you jump in?
Yes, accept all buyers leads. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. If you, whether receiving a lead from online or a phone call, OpCity, Relo, Cardis, Zillow, take those leads and qualify those individuals and also set the expectations. Let them know what the market is about, find out if the FHVA or whatever type of financing they're going to be doing. And if they can't, if they're in that FHVA type buyer, which we know have to put multiple offers and they have to have that additional money to make the difference up in appraisal, it's okay. Let them understand what the market is and nurture that client and work with them, because in time, there is going to be a shift in the market. So don't give up. And I also want to tell you guys something too. This is years back, and Craig, you may remember this. There was an OpCity lead that came in. I think it was like for 150,000 or 200,000. It wound up being a $2 million sale. So you know what? Don't judge. Pick up, take the call and work it as if it was any other deal. And for the new agents, use your lifestyle profile sheet if you don't know what the right questions to ask, because that will definitely give you the content. So this way you can understand what your buyer needs and wants are. Thank you.
Thank you. So, I mean, I'm seeing it, guys. I mean, our lead acceptance rate is falling through the floor, and I understand why. Because you don't want any more buyer leads that can't buy, and you don't want to show them houses and write offers that aren't going to get accepted. But I want you to remember, you know, have these conversations and know, like D.R. Horton, for example, has inventory. Chris, you did a great class a couple weeks ago. Say inventory is not the problem. We have lots of inventory, and there's more inventory coming. There's just lots of demand. So people just have to wait longer to get what they want. Amanda just talked about 400 or 500 units that are coming on the market, right? They're all coming. They're just not here yet. But you got to have this conversation with the buyer. So stop not accepting leads. Accept them, nurture them. They just have to be nurtured longer now. But if you stop accepting them now, you're going to run into a dry path in the future. So I just don't understand why you have to keep doing that.
You have to continue to build that pipeline all the time.
Correct. Kathleen, I gave you a topic.
Yes, you did, to make sure that we show homes only to qualified buyers. And Bacon's agents, you are awesome. You're the best agents in this market, in this region. So what do you do in a red heart market? You ask the hard questions up front. Start out with the timelines, find out what the buyer needs are, if they're leasing, if they got a job move, and educate them. You have to let them know what's going on with this market, what the market is all about, and set expectations. You got to ask the critical hard questions up front. And if the buyer's not ready, incubate them, nurture the lead, keep checking in until they are well prepared. Now, how do they get well prepared? You have to tell them up front, you need to have some substantial money set aside for funds. And if you don't have it, reach to Aunt May, reach to your parents, reach to your friends. You can get gift funds, talk to your lender about gift funds. That's really, really important, because if you don't, you're going to get caught on the short end. You're not going to win this, because buyers are coming to the table with highest and best and going way above list price in most situations. And then we have cash buyers that are beating out our buyers. So you have to be well qualified. You have to tell them these things up front. Set the buyer's expectations. Go the extra step. Buyers have to differentiate themselves from everybody else. It's not going to be cookie cutter anymore. You have to take the extra step, have a serious amount of money set aside, and get desktop underwriting approval. It's not enough to have a pre-approval letter that shows that you have a pulse and driver's license. You need desktop underwriting, and your lender can even reach out to the listing agent and have kudos for your buyer to just try to get your foot in the door to get that overall picture about your buyer painted. And love letters with your offers. We can get into that later, of course. We have just a little bit of time. And also, timelines are equally important on the seller. As the agent, call before you go out. Call the listing agent or text them or email, whatever it takes. Find out what's going on with the seller. What's the occupancy timeline? How fast do they need to close? Because more often than not, finding out what's good for the winning of the seller is what's going to win it for the buyer. It's speed to lead. There's 20 other people that are looking at houses. So instead of just trotting out there and doing showings, try to do virtual showings. Let your buyers know that you're looking at that house, and so are 20 other people right behind you. And they're going to be writing offers as they stand there. You can open up a loop, put a couple of contracts in there and find out which seller is selling, how they're selling. Get that loop set up so that when that buyer loves it, when you're doing a FaceTime virtual showing, click, 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 you got your offer ready to roll. And while you're still in the property doing virtual showings. Also, safety. While you're out there working it, make sure you're safe. Make sure that if you're uncomfortable and you're working with a buyer, let your manager know, let somebody know. You always got to look out for safety. And there's a great app that I had overlooked that's out there. You can get it through Spark. It's called Forewarn. And there's also Google, just a reminder, we want to be safe.
Well, Kathleen, that was a lot more than I asked you to talk about, but it was all good. The main point there was only show properties to qualified buyers.
Right.
Right. That's the main message was you're going to burn yourselves out and you're creating false expectations. So just be really hard, nurture them, tell them the truth up front. Jeff is not on the call today, Mike. I don't think he is. So I'll read his line. His line was, it's not that here. Consider community new home centers and Zoom tours. All right. So you got the buyer, they're excited. They want to explore Tampa Bay, but it's not worth your time to set up showings and go show resale listings that are going to get bid above asking price with a buyer who's not ready to buy yet. But you can go to D.R. Horton and you can show the models. You can do a community tour. Just drive around the neighborhood talking about the Manatee Preservation Center or whatever, just to build some rapport, because you have to nurture these clients, even though they're not buyers yet. But, D.R. Horton's going to have inventory in 9 months. So if they're not ready now, that's okay. And then the third part with this was Zoom. I'm having tremendous success with consumers the product I'm selling with. I don't even meet them. I don't want to see them. I don't want to touch them. I don't want them in my Jeep. I don't want to be four-wheeling. I don't want to do anything until I've sat with them on Zoom, seen their commitment, shown them the marketplace, shown them comps. I can point and click on anything I want to show them. Zoom is probably your best bet right now for your first time initial buyer showings. Put them on Zoom, go to Google Maps, go to MLS, go to Zillow, show them what they're used to. Oh, Jeff, you are here.
Is it here?
I spoke for you. All right, number 4, Deb.
Good morning. So we want to talk about our buyers in a multiple offer situation. I'm going to give you a real life example of Georgia. She's one of my newer agents with me and did an outstanding job getting her buyer under contract. Their first offer they put in, they were approved up to $300,000. Of course, they looked at $300,000 house, got overbid, lost the deal, and a little disheartened, but they got to be creative and they got outside of the area a little more, which her job would allow her to, and got up to Brooksville. And why is that? Because they found a $275,000 home up there that actually was perfect for them on a half an acre of land and with a pool and everything, nice house. And Georgia did the smart thing. She talked to the listing agent and said, how many offers have you got in, and tell me about them? And guess what the agent did? Shouldn't have, but she did. She told her where the offers were and how much they came in, and she had 3 offers in. So they were able to come in for more, still under their budget, which is really great because they got the house for $285, I believe, somewhere around there. And they won the bid. But you know, you have to get your buyer prepared. You can't go to the top of their limit if they don't have the cash, if they don't have the wherewithal to for this. So she started looking for homes a little bit outside of an area, even though it was a little bit of a commute, not much for this person, and was able to really find them a perfect house in a perfect location, beautiful little town. And for the money they wanted to spend, kept under budget, and they won the bid. So great job. That happened this week. Great job, Georgia. And it was just a great strategy that she put forth, because we talked about it after they lost the first deal. I said, you got to get less than the 300,000. And of course, with the pool, there's nowhere, not in Hillsborough County anyway. So they got outside and went up to Hernando County, because her job really is in very North Tampa, and she can commute within 25 minutes, 30 minutes to a job site. So it worked out really well, but sometimes you got to get creative, get outside the areas. They do this up in the Northeast all the time. They commute for 2 hours sometimes, you know, in New Jersey, New York. So we're having to look for houses. If they want a pool home under 300,000, you got to get outside the area. And that's what we did. So it was a great job at Georgia.
So the heading of that was be honest, have real conversations about what multiple offer situations look like.
Yeah.
Chris, you're up for number 5.
So my topic was real life appraisal issues, which you heard of one that we just mentioned earlier, you know,
Right.
real life appraisal issues that are happening right now. But what I really want to kind of address when it comes to this is setting that expectation with a buyer. But you have to understand who the buyer is that you're talking to and how to properly communicate that to them. And here's why it's important. I saw a post on Facebook the other day, a buyer. These are all facts, but this is the way the buyer was made to feel because of the way he was told what's going on in this market. The post said, I need a real estate agent who's going to work for me and not just tell me this BS about paying over appraisal, needing to be overqualified, can't get a home, not going to do this, not going to have that. I need somebody who's going to work for me. Okay, well, what happened there? The conversation wasn't had up front in a way that made the buyer understand. The best way that you can really help connect with somebody, tell them a story. Tell them a story about what just happened, what you just heard. Tell them the $490,000 price, $395,000 appraisal. Tell them a story about D.R. Horton having conversations with a buyer. If I walk into D.R. Horton with you today, they're going to sit you down and they're going to have a conversation and tell you that they're not pricing for appraisals, they're pricing for demand. And then now the demand is surpassing what the appraisal price would be. And giving them that expectation, saying then they're going to see the look on your face and they're going to tell if you're a serious buyer, the right buyer for them. But if you look too scared, too worried, too concerned, you're probably not going to be the right buyer for them. So tell them a story, create the emotional attachment for them, because people buy with emotion and justify with logic. And if you can influence them with a story that hits their emotions and makes them understand and connect to it, the logical side will come around and say, well, maybe I am qualified with a 20% down loan, but what if I do 10% and pay the difference of the appraisal, use the extra cash to pay the difference of the appraisal to make sure I get to home, because the outcome is to get to home right now. So just putting them in a position where you can tell them a story, tell them the real life stories of things you hear online here, and create an emotional attachment or detachment, whichever one is fine. That's okay. It's all right if they're going to be scared, because if they're scared, they're not the buyer to put in your car right now. But you got to have those conversations up front, but use a different tactic, because if you tell them, guess what, you got to pay 50 grand over an appraisal, you better have 100 grand in the bank, you better be able to do this, and the seller's not going to extend and they'll probably sell it for more, and they're going to, that's no way to connect with them. Understand who your buyer is, be a true salesperson, a true influencer, and connect with the buyer with these stories that are going to put them in the best possible position to make the decision they need to move forward.
Perfect. Joe Diener.
Good morning. Good morning. You know, we often talk about ourselves as being real estate agents, but really when it comes down to it, we're real estate consultants, right? We need to know the big picture of what our buyer is able to do and not able to do. And my topic is, where's the money coming from? Where can you get it, right? And, you know, obviously, the first thing you want to know is, where is it now? What do you have? What money do you have? You know, some people don't understand, you know, we're in the business. We realize we can't have mattress money, right? We need it vested in the bank and seasoned to be able to use it for a down payment. Where else can we get money? We can get money, Craig, you talked earlier about gifts from parents and aunts, uncles, whatever. 401ks are a good way of getting additional money if you work with a company. And you can borrow, many have a program, you can borrow if you're borrowing for a house, you can take money out without penalty for that. And, you know, they're the biggest places where we can get money from, but it's really important, you know, as we're doing that consultant work, to understand what they have and explain what's going to happen when you put in an offer and appraisal issue and every appraisal issues, as Chris talked about, and everything else.
Yep. So have that conversation is really the message. Otis, what about you? You got some comments there? Number 7.
Yeah, my thoughts are really, you know, asking good questions. I'm going to repeat basically both of what these guys just said. Asking good questions, creating proper expectations. I always go over worst case scenario, because if that's palatable, then I know they're a true buyer. And then there's a scenario out there for every, you know, there's a story for every scenario. So what Chris said is dead on the money. If you can relate with a story, everyone loves stories, but it truly gives them an idea of what they're getting themselves into. And at that point, we're people. And so we can read where they are, and we can actually guide them from there. If it's anxiety, or if it's maybe they don't have the right amount of money, and we can start asking questions about that. That's what we do. But I'm really kind of just piggybacking on both what these guys just said also. Expectations, worst case scenarios, and then of course stories.
Well, worst case scenario sometimes is renting an option. You know, you can't buy right now. So rentals are there, and, you know, more investors are buying now. So more rentals are coming on the market. And sometimes people just have to revert to renting now.
And at least you had the conversation, because at the end of the day, you know, we're competing against people who are selling everything, the earth, the star, the moon, the sky. But if we create expectations and give them a real life idea of what they're getting themselves into, at the end of it, we probably will exceed those expectations when you have the worst case scenario as part of it. And you come out a hero. And some people who may do the same exact job, but created false expectations, well, they didn't do as good as the expectations were set. And so at least you're setting the proper expectations as well.
Yeah.
Meg, I throw out there something positive, Craig.
Sure.
Not all FHA buyers are broke, or at VA. Right?
That's right.
They're not always broke. So just like everybody's saying, the education and communication is key. And also make sure that you are communicating with their lender, because their lender may not be communicating the same way. in the same sense, like saying like, you don't need anything, right? You don't need to put anything down. It's 0% for VA, but make sure you're setting those expectations. But a lot of them have money. A lot of these people are just using these programs because they're entitled to these benefits. So.
100%.
You're spot on, Ashley. Spot on.
I mean, yeah, Thomas, you're an FHA, you're a VA buyer
Correct.
and you're not broke.
I just had a VA buyer that was willing to go $35,000 over and appraisal. So they have the money. I mean, some of them are officers and stuff like that. Again, as Ashley said, they're using the program zero down, but that doesn't mean they don't have money for closing costs and things like that. So that's why you need to ask those questions.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, there's a book I've been reading and rereading again. It's called The Four Agreements. And the first agreement is be true to your word. Do what you say you're going to do. The second one is don't make assumptions, right? Don't make assumptions just because they're going to VA. Don't assume they have no money, but you have to have that conversation. Actually, great point. Number 7 is Jimmy, which is not online right now, but number 7 is
office.
What's that?
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm here.
Then number 8 is Jimmy.
Right. So I kind of want to kind of jump in with talking about understanding the programs available. I mean, I had an example where conventional wise, that's which way we were going to go, but we were able to get an offer under FHA instead, because then we had the extra money to actually handle and have the extra money for an appraisal issue. When we went conventional, we didn't. So understanding those options. But, it's kind of tying into what everybody's saying is, we really have to be knowledgeable about what's happening in the market and what kind of programs are available. So yes, there are FHA buyers that have money, but what about the ones that don't? We did talk a little bit about, maybe it's time for them to rent. Well, guess what? The rental market isn't even, isn't the easiest either. So, understanding the different programs that are out there, like Home Partners. So Home Partners is a program that obviously that will allow you to lease a home with the right to purchase, but it is a cash buyer that will put in a competitive offer. So if renting is the right way to go, now they can look at every home that's on the market and possibly find a home to rent. But at the same time, if a cash buyer comes in and is going to give a competitive offer, probably at asking or above, right, Chris? And then you have the right to purchase at any time. So I'll give you an example. Let's say there's a house for $250,000. Okay, a $250,000 house. Everybody's going after it. You're going FHA. You're probably having to go in at 260, 270, 280. Who knows what you're going to have to go in for that? And if you don't have the cash to make up that appraisal, what's the point of even going after it? Well, in this case, you come in with Home Partners. They give you a cash offer, competitive. They get the home. And then you can come back and purchase the home at a specific price. The market is changing so quickly right now. A month from now, prices could be up 3-4%. Well, you're actually locked into that price. So they may have bought it for $250, but in 3 months from now, you're only going to have to pay $260 for it, because that's the deal that you worked out in this program, where it could be worth $275 or $280 at that point. You don't know. So you have to know the options that are available to you. And I mean, again, it's just letting them know as much as possible and whatever's going to work for them. So Home Partners is a great opportunity for some of our buyers that don't have the extra cash to come to play.
And I think, Jimmy, another point to that too is it hedges your bet. Let's say the market does not grow at 3.5% and the house is only worth 240 when it comes time to buy it. Then you don't exercise your option and you don't buy it.
Yeah,
but you still got a roof over your head.
And I was thinking about this too. Like, a lot of people are starting to settle because there's not enough. There's not enough products out there. The demand is so high. So people are settling. They're settling in communities. They're settling for features. They're settling for specific. They're selling for things that they don't necessarily want, but they want a house. Well, guess what? What if I told you can test drive your house for up to 5 years to see if you want to do it? And if not, cool. You hate the community, move out in a year. Then maybe the market's going to kind of flatten out a little bit anyways, and you have more options and get what you really want. But at least you got a home. You're into it. You can exercise the right at any time in 5 years. Or if you don't like it, peace out. You know what? Let's test drive and see how it works.
Love it. Beautiful. Last one on our list. We're a little over time. Mike Puma.
You didn't give me a topic, but I'm happy to.
Did. Your topic was knock.
Oh, well, I can definitely talk about that.
I know. Number 9, consider knock, parentheses, Mike, close parentheses.
Oh, I missed that, but I apologize. But either way, yes, Knock is an amazing program now, and if you're not taking advantage, you absolutely should. The ability for someone like myself who should sell, they've got equity in their home, but I'm going to give the excuse that a lot of potential sellers are giving right now, which is, where am I going to go? Right? I don't want to end up homeless. I have to stay in a certain area for the kids' school, all of that, right? Those are logical and practical excuses. Knock takes it away. So with Knock, simply, they're going to give you 20% of your current home's equity in cash for 0% interest for 6 months. You use that cash, they're going to pre-qualify you, and you use that cash to go put down on your new home. Go find it, buy it, move in, only pay one mortgage, and then sell your current home, which we know is going to move pretty quickly in this market, and then you'll settle up. You don't end up selling, or you don't find the house you want, great. No harm, no foul. Pay back the 20% because you didn't use it, and you're good to go. There literally is no excuse anymore when you have that program at your disposal.
Love it. Okay, there's a question about, will home partners buy condos? And the answer is yes, they will. But the biggest thing for home partners is they cannot have rental restrictions, because home partner is an investor who's going to sell the house for the purpose of renting it. And if the HOA or COA has anything to do with,
I don't think they buy condos. They buy townhomes, but I don't think they buy condos.
oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll only buy single family and townhomes. I don't think they buy condos.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they consider condo multifamily. I don't think they'll do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
So
Thank you.
townhomes, anything that you own with fee simple deed, yes, but condominium, I don't believe so.
Cool. All right, we are way over time, so I'm going to jump to a couple of little quick slides here. Jeff, do you want to add anything? I didn't know you were there, so I spoke for you.
No, you said it beautifully the way that you did that. The one thing I want to just, one thing I will add real quickly though, is I was talking with our buddy Palmer a while yesterday, and he is just talking about inflation, right? And in a good way. Inflation, good or bad, depending on how you look at it. He's looking at it a very good way, that people are pouring cash and will continue to pour cash into real estate, and that's not going down anytime soon. And so he's buying as much as he personally can. It is the best safe haven for cash, and cash is not safe. Inflation is coming, and real estate is a great move, which is why our market's going nuts. So that's just another reason to know why we're so crazy right now, and another reason to know why we're going to be even crazier. And I also saw a news article this morning that Canada is considering loosening their borders on June 22nd. So we all know it's coming, but if you don't have inventory, guys, you're in deep, deep, deep trouble. So go get some.
Yep. Very cool. I agree. And for those who don't know, Palmer is a very multi-millionaire guy who owns a lot of stuff in our marketplace. I did that. Okay, just leads up. Look at Century-Tron, guys. 97 last week, 73 this week. Our biggest lead source coming through. I'm just seeing a challenge. I want to say happy birthday to Eileen Nom from South Tampa, Jack Berry from Madeira Beach, Carlisha Newman from Brandon, Deborah Haley's coming up to her 70th birthday and looking fantastic. Janie Coates from Madeira Beach on the 11th as well. Thomas McCombs on the 11th also, and Cheryl Rhoda-Woo on the 11th. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 birthdays on June 11th, and then Michelle Ball from Brandon on the 14th. So happy birthdays to you. I think I'm going to, let's see. I was supposed to cover more stuff, but we're out of time. Last week's recap, Angelique sent an email. There's lots of content out there, guys. So go back and look at those classes. If you missed any, I promise you'll meet it. Water Street is another opportunity. June 16th is a Wednesday. Water Street is a preview of that new housing community in Tampa. Once again, you got to be well-versed on what's available in the marketplace. So I'd attend all of you to look at that. Paramount's training on Thursday this week. Deed vesting is important. The Next Level Resource Center, I'll play that again next week. But that's just another tool for you to have. Global Home USA, May report. We only sold 12 warranties, guys. You're missing the boat. I mean, we're cheating our customers by not stressing it. I know the seller's not going to pay for it in a competitive market, but a buyer really should. I've given you my example enough times, so I'm not going to say it again. And I had a video from Mike Meadler to play, but I'm not going to do it today. And I had a really cool little personality type of agent thing to talk about, but we're out of time for that too. So we were going to call it a day. I think there's a couple questions I didn't answer on the Q&A. Mike, just stay tuned. We're going to give you talking points on defending commissions. Most of it is absolutely not square in the eye. Agents are working harder now than they ever have before. And our company, we're not going to cheat them. So you got to pay us full boat. Regina said, I noticed how many sellers agents are saying in realtor comments that escalation clauses will not be accepted with offers. Any words of wisdom regarding this fairly new phenomenon? Is anyone else seeing this? I haven't heard of that, Regina.
I've seen
go
it
ahead.
a lot.
I've
Look,
seen it.
we're just saying, if you're telling me the list price is 350, your buyer's saying I'll escalate to 380, but the highest offer was 370. Bring your best offer of 380. Don't give me an escalation that you'll cap out at 371 because the next highest offer was 370, but you said you would pay up to 380. That's all they're saying. If whatever your best offer is, put it on the table. Don't put an escalation clause in because
Right.
that seller may lose out. If you'll pay up to 380, make it 380.
I think when you're getting 20 offers on a deal, it's very hard to wheedle through all those escalation clauses. So I think they're just saying, give me your final and best and be done with it. And I've seen that on several. Yep.
Wow. Okay. And we answered those. Very good. Well, I'm sorry we ran over. I hope we, yeah, she had it too. Got it. I hope we got some good value today. Thank you for your attendance. It was awesome. Managers, thank you for all your contributions today as well. And happy Tuesday.